Welcome to Radio Free Will, a podcast for sovereign people. I'm your host, George McCullough, and we're coming at you live and direct from Greggstown, New Jersey. And with us today, once again, is Michelle Mockers, artist, activist, and philosopher, and one of the smartest and bravest men I know. Michelle, how are you doing?
It's very nice of you to say so, but very, very well, George. Thank you. It's very nice to be with you.
A nice introduction.
Yeah.
Oh, you like that, huh?
Yeah, it was nice.
So, a couple of things that happened this week. The House and the Senate have started the impeachment trials of President Trump.
Yeah.
Can I get your reaction on that?
My reaction is very simple. It was a mess to elect him, and now it's a mess to put him down. So that's beautiful, you know. The whole political life right now is busy at nothing else than putting a president down. That's it. That's beautiful.
Have you been following?
I have been more or less following, yes, since the beginning, because I cannot agree for 1 second with Mr. Trump. You know, I wrote even that little song, and but so that's something else. But you know, he's everything but a president. The first thing that you can be wondering is how such a man can be president of the United States. That is something difficult to understand. And now what is beautiful is that all those elected people will represent us. Maybe they start to think like us that Mr. Trump is a little too much, if you want.
Well, I have to say, I certainly am not watching it, the whole thing all day long. The parts that I have watched, it is really boring and really, it just makes your head want to explode.
You know, what is terrible is to say that the political life of the country is actually completely busy at things like that, which has absolutely no value, which has doesn't solve any problem at all, you know. So all the elected people are spending a lot of time to be boring, as you say, beside that. It's absolutely boring. If it was funny, it would be something else, but it's boring.
Well, I got to say, the guy that's leading the charge for the Democrats, Schiff, his arguments just do not make any sense to me. He says stuff that we need to do this because we can't trust the 2020 elections because Trump might get elected again. Essentially, what he's saying is that you can't trust the American people to elect their own representative.
No, but it's where, my dear, we go to a big problem here. We go to a big problem that I must say, I love America. I am an American. You know, I became American for specific reasons that I can explain, which were artistic, by the way, nothing else. But
the tax breaks on your artwork, huh?
Yeah, I came here invited. You know, can I say it? I came here invited by, at that time, one of the two big airline companies, TWA, to make an exhibit on the Fifth Avenue, just in front of St. Patrick. You could not be better, you know, located to show your paintings. And they invited me and transported me to come here. And so I had always say, you know, like in the time of let's say, Rome or before, that where the art is the most, appreciated or livid or vivid or, possible, that's where the artists go. And I had always said, I will go where my art is the best received. Plus, it came on compliment of something else that I tell only to my close friend, you know. I had an uncle who was a Dominican, but he was not only a Dominican, he was one of the top people in Paris. And he made the first Congress, for example, among other things, the first Congress of International Criminology, that after that came to New York. But so we had a discussion And I remember very well on Boulevard Saint-Germain, 1948, where at the point I say, you, my uncle, you are saying something, you don't know exactly what you are saying, but I see that if I put together all what we say in something like 50 years, about 50, I gave 50 years at that time, the world will change enough to propose something else. And that came, if you want, in a complement of moving to the United States with my paintings. And at the same time, I had said that day to my uncle, if on the time of Rome, for example, you wanted to make a revolution, you would not make that in a small village in Gaul or in England. You make that in Rome. So at the time, as America, New York, Washington is the most biggest country in the world, that is where it has to happen. On that, TWA invited me to come here. So I came. And so now I am doing
the revolution in the United States.
Yeah, what I did discuss in 1948 Boulevard Saint-Germain in Paris.
Well, now that the world is globally connected through technology and all of that, can the revolution take place in just about any corner of the earth?
But, by revolution, of course, it would end up in a revolution of fact and way of being, but it's basically, number one, and if I can say so, an intellectual revolution, peace and love, that is something which is artificially, but it's it's basically before any political concern or anything at all. What I regret in the United States, as once more being an American today, is that when you consider the level of, let's say, culture of America, you can say that there is about 10% of Americans which are cultured. The rest, forget it. They are nice people. They go to their job. They do this. They do that. They vote. They don't exactly know for what. Because don't forget that half of the people do not vote, my dear. Half of the people in that big democracy do not vote. And I talk to some of those people, say, why don't you vote? It's a duty to vote, And they say, vote for what? It will change absolutely nothing. Anybody I will elect, it will be exactly the same thing.
Well, maybe they're smarter than the rest of us.
In some ways, yes, but at the same time, they are not ready to listen. What is the problem is that I don't know. I don't know what is the problem exactly to listen to. No, there is one basic problem in America. Young American, and America is already more than 3 centuries old. There is no education in America. We do not fabricate citizens for tomorrow. We oblige the citizen for tomorrow. If you want to become really a citizen, well-known citizen, you have to pay for it. That is absolutely, this is the reverse, the absolute reverse of democracy and people who can judge by themselves if they don't have the education to judge.
So when you're talking about education, you're talking about not mathematics and reading and writing. You're talking about becoming a better person.
Yeah, because that's what education gives you. You can go into anything. In education, you have some people who are more gifted for mathematics, for example. I was not at all gifted for mathematics. It was for me a pain in the neck when I was going to the mathematical class. It was awful. But I had to do it anyway, and I had to be able to go on with. So, that was a fantastic, I hated that. Anyway, you do it, but as you say, the education is not only to learn in the books, it is more than that, is to develop the mind, to develop your eyes, to see the world in a different way than you see it when you have no education. So, the disaster of this country is the number one disaster. Is education.
And what would be number 2?
Well,
Or
no,
should
no.
I, since you're not good at mathematics, should I say B? What is B?
What is B? B is where it is not again also a democracy. Or there are several ways for there are several things. One thing is that the elections. Once more, elections should be something that every party or every person who is valuable, who would be of a real something, if you want, in the life of the country, could be elected. Here it's not true. You have to be, basically, you have to be Republican or Democrat because they own the stage. They own the whole stage, and the backstage, they ignore the backstage. So that is, you will tell me there were the Green Party or that. No, that's not true. There is two parties, the Republican and the Democrat, and that is anti-democratic.
And as we reviewed in some of your artwork, you think those two parties are really just one party.
They are absolutely one. If you put all what they want, except that, for example, let me take only one example, which I disagree by saying that, abortion. So one of the party will pay for abortion, the other party will not give any money for abortion. But it's where, we are not a democracy. That is not the business of a government to give moral lessons through money, please, through money. It's an influence through money to tell a woman you must or you must not. It's, for me, if you want, it's the duty of a woman to know if she wants to have or do not have the baby. And the only duty of a government is to pay for, in any case, for the necessary pharmaceutical, whatever it is, the necessary to help. That's it. But so when you see that one party, they are different on things like that, that's it. That's what makes the Republican and the Democrat. Otherwise, it's exactly, if you want, they produce exactly the same thing, the same philosophy for everything.
The same economic philosophy.
The economic philosophy. We have already said. We have already said all that, but that makes me mad, because when we say we are a big democracy, so we are a democracy in two pieces. One piece is when you are in the street, so you have the laws that you must write on the ride and blah blah and blah blah and blah blah, all the laws that makes you, and those laws are basically those laws against nature, but that's something else. But you have the laws that oblige you to behave like a citizen, and the citizen, according to the definition of the dictionary, is an interdependent citizen. You depend of each other to become a society. Now, that's what it is. But the business, that society lives on business. And society lives on business, which is completely different philosophy, which is you can kill the opposition. Because if you kill the opposition, you will have more to do for yourself. So you don't care if you put the people outside in the street, you don't care about anything at all. So here, you don't have the right to kill, and half of America, of the ideas of America, you have the right to kill. That is not a philosophy, my dear. It's just a way of being. It's a way of being that went on through the century, it became like that. And when we were talking Constitution, you don't see that in the Constitution. Absolutely not see that, because it was done by people who at that time had slaves. And you know what it is to have slaves. You have to have a special mentality to be able to have people working in detestable conditions for you, my dear. But that is on what all those laws are built. So we should revise all those laws.
Are there natural laws and then artificial laws?
Well, there are natural laws, but the natural laws sometimes you're obliged to fight against. Otherwise, you will not have any freedom in society. You will have nature. You will have a lot of things against you. So we are obliged to once in a while to push a little the nature itself to be able to survive. But at the same time, we should have, and what the America does not have, we should have a philosophy to direct the whole world, the world of intimate world and business world.
And if the world were going to change, would there be an America?
Why not? Why
So-
not? It's not a question to change the frontier of the world, my dear. We will never change the frontier of the world. I go even further than that. You have some groups, some cultural groups that you should preserve because that's the whole centuries, for example, of culture that arrived to us. So you should not destroy all those culture. You should preserve all those culture. At the same time that there is frontiers. Well, so what? If the people on the basic side, on each side of the frontier were friends instead of shooting at each other, the thing is that through the whole history, you always arrive at the same thing. You arrive at one country which you choose some conductors, some leaders, if you want, but that country, for a lot of reasons, is against the country of the and the leaders of those two countries exchanging big words, and someday they exchange guns. There is no reason to exchange guns. When you look at a war like the war. One war which was supposed to be the last of all the wars, but which is a fantastic example of that. The First World War was made only by the same family it was the same cousins which were the leaders of four countries. And they disagree between themselves. The disagreeing between themselves, it was only 11 million dead.
You don't want to get in between family fighting, that's for sure.
No, it has absolutely no real reason to be. Absolutely no real reason to be. But it has been like that for a long period of time, except if there is a reason that here you are, this one is richer than you, and eventually this country will try to get this country to become richer. It's always the same thing. It's a question of richness. Who gets the gold and who doesn't get the gold.
Should we take a look at one of your paintings?
Oh, absolutely. I will be very honored.
The one
I will
that
be
we previewed before the show?
I will be very honored.
Okay, can you read it, Michel? Because I made the print real big.
They will come to destroy humanity, the horsemen of the apocalypse. That is, I add that. They will come to destroy humanity if humanity is not able to unite in love and peace. Listen, humanity has never been able to unite in love and peace. Because the artificial interest, or interest of a small group, have created all the wars, all the dissension between humanity. Absolutely. People would be happy otherwise. You don't want to take a gun and go and kill somebody that you don't know. You don't want to do that in your nature. It's not of your nature to do that. It's against your nature to do that. So why are you obliged to do it? Why millions of people are obliged to do it? Instead, just because of the mind of some leaders. That's it. And the mind of some who produce some supposedly philosophy to guide the world, like communists, for example. But it's not a solution to fight. I will always think, you disagree with communism. Okay, I disagree basically with the philosophy. You say it doesn't stand. It stands on his head. It's contrary. But at the same time, I don't see why I should destroy an idea with a gun. You don't destroy an idea with a gun. You can destroy an idea by proposing a better idea that people will eventually accept. But not on killing the people, saying, hey, I kill you because you are not on my side. Come on.
Right.
So, but the world, my dear, the world, when you look at the 5,000 written history of humanity, when you look at that, you will see that war is all the time. It's not here, it's there, all the time. There is a permanent war on the world. And still today, hey, what are we talking about? War, all the time. Huh?
Yeah, I think United States is in at least 7 wars currently, and it has
For what?
400 military bases. And I heard another fact. I might get this wrong, but United States has economic sanctions on like 70% of the countries in the world, or something crazy like that.
No, that you know, it's where the world is completely stupid, and you know, it's where I don't know. I don't want to go into the next election, but I should say that a man like Mr. Trump has absolutely no idea at all. No idea at all. He's a man who had a casino and had money, and then he has no idea at all.
Well, he
the
did
question
run
of-
on a platform of he would get us out of these wars, but he hasn't been able to do that, and he hasn't demonstrated that he even wants to. He is kind of a con man, I would say.
Yeah, but you see the problem, my dear. The problem is he is the president of the United States. Come on, he is not telling all the countries we must stop a
Yeah,
war
but-
and we must have peace and we must love each other. No, he is the president and say if you are not agree with me, I kill you.
But we, the people, give him the power.
Of course.
We don't have to listen to what he says. We don't have to listen to what Congress says. We don't have to do any of this stuff. You only have to do what's right in your heart, right?
Yeah, but it's eventually not enough to stop the war. Because during you are doing that, during you are having your heart going like that, he's saying things that can create war.
Right, but what would happen if everybody just stopped?
How do you do it?
Well, we're proposing a plan, right?
That's what we are trying to do, my dear. We are trying to okay, what we are doing is to try to give a better idea for the world to live with. The world to live with must, you know, you are not obliged at all to accept China. And I do not accept for 1 second the philosophy of communism because I say it's stupid, it stands on his head despite what Mr. Marx was feeling. He said he wanted to put it back on his feet. It was worse. He put it completely outside. So you cannot accept that. But what do you do with all those millions of people? Come on. What can you do, practically? Say, if you don't agree with what we say, we will shut the economy, we will do this, we will do that, and eventually we'll go to war. Huh?
They would never shut off the economy because they're the ones who started it, and they're the ones who they feast on it. They give energy, but
Listen,
the economy doesn't really do all that much for me.
No, but you know why? Explain to me why,
We're
George.
supposedly living in the greatest economic times, but it doesn't.
George,
I don't
George,
see it.
explain to me why all of a sudden everything I buy is made in China. Why is not made in America?
Because I believe the Chinese still have slaves.
The Chinese were enslaved, and being in that condition, they could produce at a price where here we were not able to produce. Yeah, but it's because the people who have the money and we have the power, instead of saying we are going to keep it here, they went over there because over there it was half or third of the price, and they could make that much money with those big tankers today. The transportation went for almost nothing. So they say, over there, what we can produce here for $1, here you produce it for 10 cents. So they didn't consider the people, the country. They went for that because after that they can sell you your underwear. If I look at my underwear, it's made in China.
And the only way to fight back is to work cheaper?
No. The only way to no. It's not to work cheaper. You will have maybe one thing less, but then is to have the whole country helping, to rebuild a country that means something. In other words, if I pay my underwear tomorrow morning instead of, let's say, I don't know what, $5, if I pay $10, I may have one or two less, but so what? So what? It's the country which can work, They went over there, all the people, all the big companies, they built building in China. All the big company went over there because what is here for 100 is over there for $10. So that's the only reason. So what are we talking about?
And
War.
once they can find a country that can do the $10 for $1, they'll move to that country.
Of course, absolutely. Because they don't care about the moral of the people, they don't care about anything of that. They just care about that, my dear. Money. Nothing else.
Well, then that's where you would have to say that communism or socialism, at least everybody is on the same playing field,
Supposedly.
supposedly.
Because that's always
I
the
mean,
same
there's
thing.
corruption in every economic philosophy. That I'm not quite sure you can
No,
get
but
rid of.
and it's where in fact I disagree. If you want, I disagree with communism. I disagree philosophically with communism, because Mr. Karl Marx said that, of course, the way of making the synthesis by Bruegel was completely wrong, and he built a country on the idea that it is not the conscience that lead the people, is the way they are living. So the Marxists eliminate conscience. It's only the way we are living. And at the same time, he says the real thing is that the proletariat will beat the bourgeoisie, will throw out the bourgeoisie to become the classless society. And that is absolutely written by Marx. You can read that anywhere you want. Only one thing, he never say, and was not able to say what would become of the classless society. And what you see today, the most beautiful thing in the world is that when you don't know where you're going, so today you have in China, the proletariat is represented by one man who is elected for life. And who is the leader elected for life? You know what it means? It means a king of the Middle Ages.
But it doesn't have to be like that.
It is like that. It does say that it has to be like that,
mean,
but it is.
Let's go back to capitalism right now. I think the way capitalism is set up, it will always go towards exploiting people. Always. Because the person always wants to make an extra dollar. But at least in communism, even if you don't have to have a system where it's just one person elected for life. You can have a system where a person is elected for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years.
Yeah, but you see the problem with community, it has no morality, it has no moral life,
You don't even need a leader. Why do you call them leaders? You don't need it.
No, you don't need a leader, absolutely not. But you need, what do you replace a leader with?
Well, it could be everybody voting on their phones, and then it's kind of like a group thought process.
George.
Question from the audience.
If China is not basically capitalist the way I see it, then how come Beijing is one of the countries got most of the, I think it's Rolls Royces or big cars? Why are most of them in Beijing? Who owns them?
Did you hear the question?
The question is who owns...
Let me paraphrase the question.
Yeah.
China is basically capitalist now,
I think so.
Yeah,
according to our questionnaire.
yeah, it's a...
And how come, if it's communist, if it's supposed to be communist, how come most of the Rolls Royces
I don't know if it's Rolls Royces or some fancy
are in China?
Beijing.
I mean, obviously, the Rolls Royce is a sign that some people are getting exploited.
Somebody's got a lot of money.
So, as long as people go down that road of capitalism, there's always going to be exploitation. That's what I think. I don't think it can deviate. But in communism, at least philosophically, it provides for equal playing field for everyone.
No, he never said that.
Who never said that?
You said that.
I say it, yes.
You cannot read that in any book about communism.
Well, then I'll rewrite the book.
No. Written by communists.
I mean, because you take the root of the word communism is community, and I believe in that more than the individual.
So why can you open your mouth in China? As soon as you open your mouth, you go to jail.
Because it's a dictatorship.
Ah.
But it doesn't have to be like that.
Yeah, but it is like that, my dear.
But it is.
It is exactly like that. It is what did happen from the government, supposedly the government of the people. The government of the people ends up in one man. And when you end up with one man who is leader for life, if you want, he doesn't have to be elected anymore, for life. So if he lives 50 years, for 50 years he will be the leader. Huh? It's not Mr. Trump for 4 years. Life over there. So you have one leader who will be the supreme, he's the supreme chief, and he's chief of the armies, he's chief of absolutely everything. And the people, they work. They work. So they give you once more your jacket at the tenth of the price it will be here if you make it here. That's it. That doesn't mean that they are very happy, eh? That's something else. You don't know how happy or not happy they are. That's something else.
But I don't think it has to be like that. You haven't convinced me.
It doesn't have to be like that. Nothing has to be as it is. Nothing. Not even our democracy has to be like it is. Once more, we don't educate the people. Why don't we educate the young people?
Can you have democracy in a communist society?
Can you?
Have democracy in a communist society?
No. Absolutely not.
Why not?
Because in a communist society, you cannot open your mouth, my dear. You have to go according to the...
You could.
You could. You have the police to tell you that you have to open your mouth in this direction.
That's just because that's the way it fell. You know, once people get in power, they do anything to keep power. So what you want to do is you want to eliminate the accumulation of power.
Yeah, but you see, you see the problem. Communism is not from yesterday. It's already something aged, I should say. It's already proved something, you know. Karl Marx was not yesterday morning. Huh? So what is the result of all that? What is the result? It's capitalism who created communism by making the workers so unhappy that when Marx said the workers should be more happy, the workers went to Marx. Okay,
So if the workers get unhappy in a communist society because they're in a dictatorship...
you don't have the right to say it in a communist society.
Yeah, but if you're so miserable, you're not going to put up with it, and you no matter what laws they put forth, you're not going to obey them. So if you're so miserable because you have nothing to lose, right?
Oh, this is
yeah. So somebody say, "Give me liberty" or "Give me death"?
No, the guy.
One of those guys back in the day said that.
The guy elected for life is exactly the reverse of communism. Exactly the reverse.
That's what I'm saying. So they don't really have a communist society.
They have a dictatorship.
They have a dictatorship, correct.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. It's a dictatorship which has a law, which has a book, which has a catechism, if you want to, that they follow to organize society. And that is a society that you and me, we cannot accept. We are too independent for that. If we accept that, we will already be in a concentration camp. Huh? That's absolutely that. And they are all in a concentration camp with communism. Communism, in some ways, is a concentration camp, where you can be more or less happy, but that's it. You're not free, my dear, because basically, and Marx says it basically, the man doesn't have to have a conscience. The conscience is for nothing at all. What is the life of man is the material life.
He said that?
He said that. He wrote that.
Well, I believe the consciousness is the power of the universe. You can't get rid of it.
Well, that's the first
right?
thing. That's the first thing that he gives it. He writes it absolutely. Man doesn't have to have any conscience. Not having any conscience means that you you take away all the feelings, all love, all the emotions, all whatever it is that you want. That doesn't govern man. Man is governed by the way he is, the material way of his life. That's it.
All right, we're going to have to pick this. We're getting close to the end of the program. I just want to say we're going to have to pick this up on the next episode. But I want to say that we're not completely bashing China, and we wish only the best for the Chinese that are having to deal with this outbreak of this
but George,
virus that's going on, and we wish them only the best.
George, it's not a question to be against China. They are what they want to be. That's not your business to have elected that guy who is today the chief of China. But what we must do with China is be friends with China. They are what they are. You are what you are. I don't ask you to be me. So you are what you are, and we are friends. So when could we be friends with China? Even if China is completely out of our mind, but we can be friends, my dear.
We love the Chinese people.
Absolutely, why not? And have a drink with them. Come on.
I wanted to give you a couple of minutes to talk about the painting that you did here, if you wanted to make any comments.
Well, you know, it's an old, the Horsemen of the Apocalypse is something that is very, very well known. I believe that the best quotation is in the Bible, of course, but it has been for centuries the idea that those four horsemen were the guy who were bringing all the death problems on Earth, you know. So they have not been painted very much. They have been painted like that one or two times, no more than that. I don't know. I painted. It came to my mind, and I painted them. So today, we can say precisely that they represent what can come to the world if the world still fight against each other, if the countries fight against each other instead of being friendly with each other. I don't care about the Chinese. Come on, why not? They are communists. They are communists. I'm not communist. I'm not communist. So you have the absolute right to be socialist, communist, everything you want. That has nothing to do between the friendship between you and me, except that we don't fight for the price of our underwears.
If your fan is.
What do each of the people represent in the painting?
Oh, I don't know if I can give an exact definition. I know that one
is death.
One is death. The other one is waiting your life.
Petulance.
You know, what is your life is worthy. You know. This and the two others are more or less the disease and the guy who kills you.
Famine.
Yeah. And
so the Chinese are having to deal with disease right now, and we wish them the best. Make sure you take your vitamin C, just in case.
George, everybody should have the right to be what they want. The only thing is not to transform that what they want into an object of fighting, which has been always. But that was because some men who were the leaders wanted to have this or this or this or that, you know. Like today, where I am absolutely against, and well, the arts, if you want, when I make a painting is art, is that some people have too much when people have not enough. The people who have not enough, you always can keep with not enough. The people who have too much, they can govern you. And that is no right. Because you will depend because of economic problem, you will depend on only few people who have enough money to dictate to your mind what you have to think. And that is, for me, unacceptable.
Well, that's a good place to stop. I think we also need to get rid of all the guns and weapons on the planet, too.
Yes, George.
Hey, folks. Thank you, Michel.
My pleasure, George.
Hopefully I didn't get you too upset during the show.
No, but we have to try there. If nobody tries to put some wiseness, if you want, in the world, you know, just by bringing I have no enemies. Period. That's it. I have no enemies. If I have an enemy, I say, come, we have a drink together. I have no enemies.
Okay, that's a good place to stop. Thank you, Michel. Hey, folks, join us again next week. Before I forget, let me just say, if you want to reach out to Michel, you can reach out to him at michelmockers, one word, at gmail.com, or please visit no-pennies.com, and you can gain more insights on trying to save the world. Thank you.